Hello everybody and welcome to our course of the book of Prabhuji, Kundalini Yoga, The Power is in You. This is the book and this is the material that we're going to be using during this introductory class and during the whole course. We will be referring to what Prabhuji shares with us here in this book in regards to this beautiful amazing path that is the Kundalini Yoga. So I want to start just by sharing what we're going to be doing today. We are going to have what we can call an overview of the whole course. I want to share with all of you what are the topics that Prabhuji is sharing with us in this book, so we have a better understanding of what are the themes and the things that we're going to be speaking about and sharing during this whole course. And also, besides sharing specifically about the message and the things that are shared here, I think today we want to set the foundations and the basis of the attitude towards this course, this specific talk and all the other talks that we're going to have during this course. I think this will be even the most important, more than certain information and certain terminology that we're going to be learning and exploring in regards to this specific path of the Kundalini Yoga. I think we're going to be getting into this journey of understanding more the message of Prabhuji. When Prabhuji shares in his many books and specifically in his biography, he's speaking about a very specific attitude where he's not actually teaching something and he's not trying to convince somebody of something, of influencing or taking certain approach to their life, but he is sharing more an invitation. He speaks about speaking out loud. Like, I'm not trying to convince you about the things that I'm sharing, but I am speaking out loud. And maybe these words that I'm sharing can lead you to somewhere. So we always see it as an invitation, as a journey, as an adventure to explore together, to deepen our understanding about certain things. We see also as his disciples, we have certain experience of living with an enlightened master, with an enlightened being. And this is what we would like to share with all the courses that we are giving in this institute. We would like to share our experience of living with this being and this attitude of investigating, of doubting, of exploring, and being together in that journey of exploring and inquiring about life, about what we really are. And I can say that specifically this book, and if we see the subtitle of it, that it was one of the things that caused me the most impact in my first encounter with it, Kundalini Yoga, The Power is in You. Like, I feel the subtitle of this book is like a summary, is saying in one sentence what this book is really about. The power is in you. Like, he's saying that there is something already in us, within us, that is everything that we need. Like, there is a very famous phrase of Prabhuji that I would like to share, that is also explaining about this specific sentence or the subtitle of the book. It says, "Do not search for me, search for yourself. It is not me that you need, because the only thing that really matters is you. What you yearn for lies within you as what you are, here and now. So I want to refer to the part that says, what you yearn for lies within you as what you are, here and now. So we can see that in this sentence and in the subtitle of the book, The Power is in You, Prabhuji is sharing with us certain direction, certain attitude that he has. He's saying that we already have whatever we yearn for, this thing that we want, this thing that we search through our life, this meaning that we're searching, it's already in me. So we will see that in the Path of the Kundalini Yoga, what we're doing with different practices, with the things that we're learning, it's actually to uncover or to discover, to reveal this that is already hidden in us. There is a process of uncovering. We will see in the next few classes, talks that we will have, where there is a process of uncovering this consciousness, what we really are. And in the process of the Kundalini Yoga, we want to reveal, we want to uncover this, that it's already in us. But we don't need to search outside. We don't need to look for something that is not here and now. It's already here. Maybe we don't see it, but it's already here. So we can continue reading a little bit about the introduction. Prabhuji is sharing this story about his father, where he's speaking about the tree. Like when we have saplings, they are very easy to adapt and move. Like he's speaking about when they emigrated from Chile. And he's saying like this comparison between the tree and the person stuck with him. And he's referring like how the roots of the tree need to be relative to its size. Like when we see these big oaks, we know that the roots are as big as what we can see outside. So he's speaking about this path of the Kundalini, about following our roots and going inward in order to ascend and elevate ourselves. So we're speaking about these terms about within or inward, and we're not speaking about like a physical distance, like okay, from my skin to my internal organs. But we will see that we're speaking more about certain level of consciousness, certain level of maturity and development. That is what is going to give us this elevation in this path of the Kundalini. I want to refer to a few words in the introduction. Prabhuji is saying, this comparison between a person and a tree stuck with me. Just as a tree's roots are proportional to its size, the depths of our internal development is proportional to our spiritual height. We flourish insofar as we are able to take root in the depths of existence. The deeper we go inward, the higher we rise. The sky is not reached by flying, but by digging into our depths. Growing taller is nothing but an increase in size. We can grow upward, but we only mature inward. Evolution does not happen on the surface. Only as we make our way into our depths do we discover our eternity. So you can see here like how he's using very specific these words, like growing taller is not only something about physical, where we are talking about going inward and this elevation that it's happening in our maturity. And I would also like to refer to some words that we see in the epilogue of the book, already in the final, where he explains more what do we mean when we are using these terms, because we're going to listen these terms about inward, upward, elevating ourselves, growing, developing. So I want us to have a better view, a better understanding of what we are saying when we are referring to these specific terms in the path of the Kundalini Yoga. We refer to the spiritual process as an elevation, as if it were a physical direction, because in seeing ourselves from the heights, our life within society, with its worries, goals, and interests, seems so small. As we overcome weaknesses and transcend addictions, pleasures offered by this world decrease, and mundane enjoyment diminishes. When observing the worldly from the heights of the spirits, our consciousness grows, expands, and flourishes, even though our bodies remain in the same place. It is an experience in which nothing changes physically, but nothing will remain the same. In terms of consciousness, to ascend is to pursue fusion, while to descend leads us to multiplicity. Upward is synonymous with interiorization, while downward is exteriorization. As we go within, we elevate. As we go outward, we descend into the relative world of names and forms, and our perception of life becomes superficial. To really grow is to know ourselves. The better we know ourselves, the greater the heights we will reach. So we see here, I think it's a very clear explanation of how we're using the terms to explain this growth. We are not speaking about something physically, but we're speaking about an increase, deepening in our levels of consciousness. So when we're speaking about upward, we're speaking about inward interiorization, and when we're speaking about outward, we're speaking about exteriorization and going downward. We will have other classes, and I will briefly speak about them very soon, but we are going to see how this process of the manifestation of the universe, it's going from the subtle to the gross, and it's going downward. And then when we are in this path of the Kundalini and we want to awaken the Kundalini, we're going from the gross to the subtle, and it's a process of elevation, so going inwards. So I wanted to share these specific paragraphs where we can find more explanation, and we are getting more familiar with the terminology that we're going to use, and specifically with Prabhuji is sharing with us in regards to this path and this attitude towards life. As I said, what we are trying, my brothers and my spiritual sister, what we're trying to do with the things that we're sharing in this institute, more than anything, is to share this attitude of inquiring, investigating, exploring, and that the things that we are learning together, the things that we are allowing to associate with, we will also allow these things to actually touch ourselves. Like there is a phrase that Prabhuji is saying, like, what we really understand is the things that we can live from. Like we share what we know, what we really know. We see it in our attitude, in our behavior, and it's something that it's with us in our life. So these are the things that we really understand, and what with the things that we're going to be learning during these courses, this is what we want to accomplish. If we need to set an objective or a purpose for the things that we're sharing, more than having more knowledge or acquiring more information, it will be more to be infected from this attitude. Like Prabhuji has this enthusiasm that is contagious, and this is what we try to share with all of you during these courses that we're sharing in the Institute. So let's start then specifically with the things that we're going to learn here in the Kundalini. This course is designed for different levels, for all the levels, for someone that never heard about the topic. So we will go very basic into the terms that we are going to be using during the whole course, but also to someone that is advanced and already know about what is Kundalini, because we are sharing, as I said, this view of Prabhuji about this path, and this is something that you are not going to learn in other places. And as I said, we keep this attitude of openness and going together, exploring together this journey, this path of the Kundalini Yoga. We're not trying to convince you or teach you something and for you to adopt it, but we're trying to understand and to explore together what is shared here in the book Kundalini Yoga, The Power is in You. So we can begin by saying, what is Kundalini Yoga? Kundalini Yoga is the path that is consciously trying to awaken the Kundalini, the Kundalini Shakti. Shakti is another name that we're going to use. And also it's trying to consciously awaken it. So when we go to the meaning of the word itself, Kundalini comes from the root Kundala, that means a roll or spiral. So it means that it's rolled in the base of the spinal column. It's in what we will see that the name is the Muladhara chakra. We will speak a little bit about the chakras very soon. So another root is Kunda, that means cavity. So it means that it's referring also to its location in the sacrum, in this cavity that we have here. Like I'm pointing it, but you will see a picture of specifically where it's located. So coiled energy, it's rolled in the end of the spinal cord, like in our sacrum area. So this is a specific etymologically what the Kundalini means. But when we're speaking about the Kundalini, we see that is this divine energy that is hidden in us, is the potential that we have to reach this divine, is the creativity, is the dynamic force. When we're speaking about the absolute, we have two aspects, the one that is static and the one that is dynamic, and the Kundalini will be the one that is dynamic. And we see that it will be like the support and the foundation of this longing. When we have this desire to reunite with what we really are, we say that we're speaking about what is Kundalini. So in the book, we're going to follow the same order. We have in the book 3 sections. In the first one, we are speaking about the basics, terminology, and different topics that we need to know in order to understand what is this path of the Kundalini Yoga. Then we have the second section when we have all the chakras. We are going to be deepening and speaking a lot about every chakra. And finally, we have the sadhana, or the practice of the Kundalini Yoga. This is the last section of the book. So we start by speaking about the astral body and what is prana. We see that we are multidimensional humans, and we have different sheets that are covering what we can call our soul. This that we want to realize, this nature, that our real nature, what we want to accomplish by following this path, is covered by different sheets. and different bodies. We have the physical body, we have the astral body, and we have the causal body, as its name say, the cause, from where all these other bodies are coming. We have 3 bodies and we have 5 sheets. Today we're going to mention it, and our next class is we're deepening into this topic of the 5 sheets or Pancha Koshas. We have the Annamaya Kosha that is in the physical body. This is the food sheath. Then we have in the astral body, we have 3 sheets. We have the Pranamaya Kosha, the energy sheath. We have the Manomaya Kosha, that is the mental sheath. And we have the Vijnanamaya Kosha, that is the intellectual sheath. And finally, we have the causal body. This is the Karana Sharira. And here we have one sheath that is the Anandamaya Kosha. This is the bliss sheath. So we are going to be speaking specifically more about the astral body, because this is where we have the prana, this is where we have the chakras, this is where we have the nadis, and we are going to be deepening more and referring more to the astral body and to the sheath of the pranamaya kosha. What is prana? Prana, the meaning is vital energy, and we will see that our third class we're going to be speaking more about prana and what is this force. Like many times we're going to speak about it, about life force, and we are also going to see that our closest expression of prana, it will be the breath, the breathing. So we will see that there are different types of prana. We have 5 major pranas that are the pancha pranas, and then we have 5 minor pranas that are the panchopapranas, and we're going to deepen in this topic. So as I said, we're just briefly mentioning all the topics so we have a better view, a better understanding of all the things that we're going to be speaking about, and we're going to be explaining all this terminology. Other topic that we are going to continue with are the nadis, because this prana that I just mentioned is not flowing in our body in a disorganized way. On the contrary, we have a very sophisticated system of nadis. The nadis are these conductors, the same way that the blood is flowing in our body through the veins and the arteries. Then we have the nadis. This is where this vital energy, this prana, is going to flow, and we're going to see and to get to know more about the nadis. Also, we have very fundamental topics in order to understand more about this path of the Kundalini Yoga. These are the chakras, the marmas, and the grantes. The chakras is a word that means wheel. So speaking about this circulatory movement that we have in the chakras, as I already mentioned, they are located in the astral body, so we cannot really see them, but they are located in this in the spinal cord, if we want to refer to something in the physical body. If we want to refer to something that is located in the astral body, we have the Shushuma Nadi, that is like the principal Nadi, because this is the Nadi where the Kundalini is going to rise from. And we have 88,000 chakras. From these ones, 45 are the most important ones, and from these 45, 7 are the principal ones, the more relevant. These are the ones that we're going to be speaking in the second section of the book. So we have, starting from the column, we have the Muladhara chakra is located here. You will see it in the screen, all these locations. Then we have the Swadhisthana chakra. Then we have the Manipura. Then we have the Anahata chakra that is in our chest area. Then we have the Vishuddha chakra. Continuing with the Anya chakra. And last but not least, we have the Sahasrara chakra. So we will see that in this path of the Kundalini, what we're trying to do is to awaken the Kundalini, and that the Kundalini will ascend from the Muladhara chakra where it's lying there dormant, and then it will rise until the Sahasrara chakra and unite there with Shiva. Remembering that these are two aspects of the same phenomena. So after we speak about a little bit about the chakras, we also have what we call the marmas. The marmas are 107 vital points where the nadis are crossing. So as I said, they are vital. So it's very important that these marmas will not be harmed, because what they will do is that they will cut the flow of the prana. So they are very important. The Ayurvedic medicine is using pressures, heat, and different massages to stimulate these marmas, because each marma is going to be associated with different organs and parts of our body. Today I'm just going to mention 3. We have the Adipati that is located here in the crown. And this marma is going to be, as we see that it's here, is going to be working with alleviating headaches, and it's also be related with the weaknesses. Like when we're feeling weak, if we stimulate this marma, then we can work with it. We have another one that is the Kurpara, that is located here in our elbow, and this one is associated with the liver. We also have the Kriya Karika that is located here in the base of our neck, and this one will be associated with stress. So we can stimulate this marma when we want to work with stress. Okay, so also another topic that we're going to be sharing about is the Grantis. The word Grante means knot, and it's going to help us in our spiritual path in the Kundalini. It's going to help us in our childhood. It's not going to allow that the Kundalini keep rising when we are not ready for it. Like this ascending and this spiritual growth, it will be obviously expressed in our behavior. So there is many people, for example, that will want to get closer and get to know and to practice this specific path because they want to achieve different mystical experience. I want to see a light in my meditation, but we will see that these are only symptoms of our spiritual maturity. So as long as we are attached, we're not surrender, we didn't renounce to certain attachments in this world, then we are not going also to see these symptoms. So the Grantis, what are doing is protecting us. It's not going to allow that the Kundalini rise certain chakras until we didn't actually renounce and surrender to certain attachments. We have 3 main ones, that is the Brahma Granti, the Vishnu Granti, and the Shiva and Rudra Granti. So continuing, we have a few more topics in this first section of the book. One of them is about the 36 tattvas or categories of existence. This is for me a very interesting topic. It caused me a lot of curiousness, like in my first encounter with it, because I couldn't understand. Honestly, I'm doing a confession here. I couldn't understand how it was associated with the topic and the path of the Kundalini. And then it was so clear. Remember that I already mentioned how we are having this manifestation of the universe. And what happened is that Brahman, the creator, is not something separate. The universe is not something separate from it. But what Brahman is doing is, from itself, it's manifesting this universe. So we will see that for the manifestation of this universe, there are certain levels that the consciousness needs to go through in order for us to see what we have here, like this relative plane of names and form. So in the 36 tattvas of or categories of existence, we will see all these levels that the consciousness needs to go through in order to manifest the universe and for us to see it and experience it as we are seeing here. So we will see that going downward, it's a materialization of the spirit, and going upward, it will be a spiritualization of the matter. So we will see, in order to understand what is the awakening, the ascending, and after the descending of the Kundalini, we need to understand more about these 36 categories of existence. Here we will have divided in 3 groups that are the pure, the impure, the pure, impure, and the impure. We have the pure that are the Suddha tattvas, then we have the pure impure that are the Suddha Asuddha tattvas, and then finally the impure that are the Asuddha tattvas. So other topics that we have, it's about the Devi or the mother. We will see here how these are only 2 aspects of the same, and it's another interesting topic. All the topics of the books are interesting, but we will see many other names and terms that we can refer to the Kundalini, and how we are always speaking about the same reality that is covered by certain things, and this is how we see this manifestation. So this is basically the first section of the book. Then, as I said, we have the second section when we are deepening into each chakra, and finally we have the third section of the book where we're speaking about the sadhana. So here I want to start with a few words that Prabhuji is sharing in the book, where he's speaking about what are the requirements for a sadhaka, and also the attitude in order to practice the path of the Kundalini Yoga and the sadhana of the Kundalini Yoga. Anyone who decides to begin the path of the serpentine power must take into account that is not a path for the mildly interested. It is not advisable to take it up as a hobby, like an after-work activity. The practice of Kundalini Yoga involves a very moderate way of life. This path in particular should not be undertaken without the expert guidance and direction of an authentic spiritual master. Before explaining the practices of this path, I would like to mention that although the techniques are important, they are only part of the basic levels. Practices are beneficial at the beginning of spiritual life, but they are not an end in themselves. They are essential in the beginning, but they can become a serious obstacle if we do not let them go at the right time. Aspirants who want to study Kundalini Yoga should comply with the essential requirements demanded by the scriptures, be properly initiated by an authentic spiritual master, and loyally follow the master's guidance and teachings. So we see here, and these are paragraphs of different parts where he's explaining about the requirements of the sadhakas. He's saying that it needs to be initiated by a spiritual master and follow its guidance. And he's also speaking about the path itself, that it shouldn't be taken as a hobby or something lightly that, in my free time, this is what I'm going to practice. But this is serious. Like, we will see this attitude of Prabhuji in everything that he do. The purpose was the realization of his being, of what he really are, of what he really is, or we can say of what we really are. So when we study this, when we share this learning, when we undertake any path, the Tantra Yoga, the Raya Yoga, the Jnana Yoga, we will see in all these other courses that we're going to have. We see that this is the aim. And even though we are undertaking certain practices, we need to have very clear that is not that this method is going to give me the truth, that I'm going to realize what I really am, or what we call enlightenment, because I'm going to do these practices. I do 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to realize God. No. If this is what we're thinking, please, we need to go back to the fact that God cannot be manipulated. The Kundalini itself cannot be manipulated in order to return to its home. But what we're doing is, with these practices, is that we are creating the conditions. This is something that we're going to see in all the books of Prabhuji. When we're speaking about practices, there is not something that I can bribe God in order to come. But what we're doing is that we are full with so many concepts, ideas, beliefs, it's noisy. We will see in the book many times where we're just speaking about how noisy we have. Like, we're not speaking about a silent of not speaking or not producing words, but a silent where meditation it can actually occur. So with these practices, we are trying to create the conditions for consciousness to express to ourselves. We are trying to prepare ourselves as instruments for the truth. So we need to have very clear that what we are practicing are only preparations. As he said, it's something that it's in the basic levels. It's something that it can become an obstacle even in our path. And as I said, the attitude is in this journey of discovering, of understanding more what we really are, but it's not something that we do in order to have as a result enlightenment. We will see that in the path of the Kundalini Yoga, there are so many practices related to purification. We will see that many practices are trying to express in ourselves this renunciation of attachments, letting go of attachments, and the purification is going to be very important stage in our path. So we will have purification of the body, we will have purification of the Nadis, we will have purification of the mind, and we will have different practice for each. For the purification of the Nadis, we will see that in the path of the Kundalini Yoga, we're going to be working a lot with the pranayama. We spoke about pranas, and pranayama is a control of the breath. So what we're doing is changing our patterns in the breathing in order to produce more prana, because prana is what is going to help the awakening of the Kundalini Yoga. Something else that I would like to mention right now is to respect each stage of the path of the Kundalini, like it's designed systematically to grow and to mature and to develop in certain order, and it needs to be respected, because we will have for example, in the path of the awakening of the Kundalini, you have first to awaken the Nadis, then the Chakras, and then you actually awaken the Sushumna Nadi, and then the Kundalini. Because, for example, if you awaken the Kundalini but the chakras are closed, this can represent it's dangerous, because you can get the Kundalini stuck for many years because you didn't follow the appropriate guidance and order of all the stages. So we will see that, as I said, we have these practices of purification. For the mind, we will have the japa and the mantras. For the body, we will have very specific practices too for the purification. For the awakening of the chakras, we will have practices of pranayama and visualization of the chakras when we are focusing in each chakra, and many other different practices. Also, in the sadhana of the Kundalini Yoga, we have what we call mudras and bandhas. Mudra is a Sanskrit word term that means seal or mark. And we will see that from the practice of the asanas and pranayama, the prana is going to accumulate in different areas. So what we're doing is that we're using these mudras in order to accumulate this prana in different areas of our body, so we can then move it to the Sushumna Nadi in order to open it and in order that the Kundalini can rise from it. So these are the mudras, and they are going to be used also with the bandhas. Bandhas means lock. Bandha means to tie up and to lock something. So we are going to be using both things together. What the bandha is doing? The bandha is allowing us to work with our internal fire, with Agni, in order to burn waste. Sometimes we have accumulated prana also, but that is a waste and we want to get rid of it. And we're going to be using the bandhas for this purpose. This is the end of the book. Like, this is the last part of the book. We're speaking about the bandhas. And now what I want to do is that we will read a little bit of the epilogue of the book, where Prabhuji is sharing a little bit more about this amazing path of the Kundalini Yoga. And I want us to stay with these words and that we can reflect into it, because it's showing us more this view and this attitude about what Kundalini Yoga is. In this transformative return from earth to heaven, in this flourishing from what we have to what we are, it is very difficult to precisely mark where each stage begins and ends. The awakening of each center does not depend only on the method that we practice, but on the price we are willing to pay. Techniques are intended to create enough space within for something to occur, but God happens according to His own will, which is absolutely free. Techniques are not meant to manipulate heaven, since it cannot be controlled by humans. Rather, techniques are an invitation that does not obligate the guest to come. Just like seeds buried in the soil, we remain in the basic chakras. This type of yoga suggests we elevate ourselves, mature, grow, and blossom in and from consciousness. The distance between one chakra and the next will depend upon our thirst for freedom, our hunger for bliss, and our desire to love. We will move from the first center to the third only when we understand the true value of material objects and realize that to be is more important than to have. The distance to reach and awaken the heart center is proportional to the time we delay in accepting our solitude. From Anya to Sahasrara, there is only one step. From what we believe ourselves to be to our reality. Kundalini Yoga trusts in the human being. It teaches us that our divine potential will not be found in anything external, because it lies within, and we only need to awaken it. Just as noise and commotion awaken the mind, silence and observation disturb the sleep of consciousness. We must fill ourselves with silence and observe attentively in order to awaken it. I don't want to share more after reading these words, because I think just to absorb it, to digest them, and to reflect upon them can give us much more than if I would try to explain them now. So I want to leave us with it, and maybe in the next class we can share about the specific sentences from these paragraphs of the epilogue of the book of the Kundalini Yoga. So thank you so much, first of all, to my guru, my master Prabhuji, for the opportunity that he has given me to share with you the experience of living with him and what he's sharing in this book of the Kundalini Yoga, and also to all of you for the time that you are investing in listening to these talks. Thank you very much. Jai Prabhuji.